All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my thoughts on which NFL players could be on the move this NFL offseason. Starting off with quarterback Kyler Murray. Now, it seems like Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, the divorce has been finalized. The papers just got to go through because the Arizona Cardinals will release Kyler Murray next week before the NFL offseason officially begins. Now, it's a little sad for Kyler Murray because he was the number one overall pick from Oklahoma, former Heisman Trophy winner with the Arizona Cardinals back in 2019. You just wish things were a little different for K1, and his statements on social media were pretty sad. He wanted to end the drought in Arizona, wanted to bring a Super Bowl to the Arizona Cardinals, and he failed. And all things don't work out with all quarterbacks, and I don't think Kyler Murray's the best quarterback. I don't think he's the worst quarterback. I think he's in that middle tier conversation of quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, he's a good starter, and just because one franchise quits on you doesn't mean your story is over. Like, look at all these NFL careers that have been revived elsewhere in recent memory in the NFL. Look at Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was being passed around by the Carolina Panthers. The Browns quit on him, and now look at him, a solid quarterback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at Sam Darnold. I mean, this man was passed around left and right. The Minnesota Vikings quit on this man after going 14-3. What does he do his first year in Seattle? Goes 14-3, wins a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. I know Geno Smith isn't the best guy around, but look at his story when he became the starter with the Seattle Seahawks a few years ago. Like, it's not at the end of the world because a franchise quits on you, and sometimes it's best to start over from scratch elsewhere with another NFL franchise. And I can see a lot of teams calling for the services of Kyler Murray. Like, the Minnesota Vikings could be all in on Kyler Murray because with this roster, I don't think they 100% believe in J.J. McCarthy. He made a lot of mistakes in his first year as a starter with the team. Justin Jefferson seems like he's unhappy with him being the quarterback. So I think Kyler Murray is in play for the Minnesota Vikings. I think he's in play for the New York Jets in the future. I think he's also in play for the Pittsburgh Steelers because this is a team that can still hang around the AFC. And they got a new head coach in Mike McCarthy that could use Kyler Murray, a mobile quarterback, in his offensive system. Plus, we're unsure if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back next year or not, and he's not going to make his decision for the next couple weeks. So I think those three teams could really be in play for Kyler Murray as we head into the NFL offseason. Oh, as a Cowboys fan, yes. Next player, Jalen Phillips. Now, Jalen Phillips was a huge difference maker for the Philadelphia Eagles when they traded for him, taking him away from the Miami Dolphins. Now, they did go all in on Jalen Phillips, and yeah, it did pay off on the defensive side of the ball, but you didn't get the job done. You didn't go on a deep playoff run. You were eliminated in the first round by the San Francisco 49ers, and you gave up a 2026 third-round pick to acquire the services of Jalen Phillips, knowing that he was set to be a free agent. That came with a price. Jalen Phillips is said to be a free agent. And the Eagles right now, they only have $2.6 million in cap space as we speak right now. Things could change, but only $2.6 million in cap space. That ain't going to be enough to re-sign a top-tier edge rusher in Jalen Phillips. So they'll most likely lose him this NFL offseason unless they could do something to bring him back and sign him on a 3-year, $50 million or more contract, because that's going to be the asking price for him. But I could see a lot of teams calling for the services of Jalen Phillips. I think he's going to be a hot commodity on the market. I'm looking at the Washington Commanders. They could use a boost on the defensive side of the ball, especially a dominant edge rusher out there to not only make the Eagles pay for making them walk, but be a dominant pass rusher in the NFC East. I'm looking at the Detroit Lions. Can you imagine that they paired them up with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of the defensive line out there in Detroit? And that Los Angeles Chargers, a defense that has been elite the last couple years, I think they could really use the services of an edge rusher like Jalen Phillips. And there's other teams that will try to acquire him, but I do believe he could be one of the top-tier names that could be off the board quickly in NFL free agency. I think he has a lot of teams that will be looking to acquire his services this NFL offseason. Next player, Kenneth Walker. Now, I think he's about to leave the Seattle Seahawks. And this is crazy because he just won the Super Bowl MVP for this previous Super Bowl 60 between the Seahawks and the Patriots. And he's been informed by the Seattle Seahawks they will not be using the franchise tag on him as we head into the NFL offseason. Now, we'll see if that plays a factor for the Seattle Seahawks doing the right thing, or Kenneth Walker being the guy that gets the last laugh here. Because, again, he's most likely going to leave. He was the Super Bowl MVP of that game and did a good job running the football when the Seattle Seahawks really couldn't cash in a lot of offensive points the way that they wanted to. They had to settle for a lot of field goals. They kicked 4 to 5 field goals in the Super Bowl. So they're not going to use the franchise tag on him. And the Seahawks do have to re-sign a lot of players this NFL offseason. Like Reek Woolen's contract is up. Kobe Bryant's contract is up. Shaheed, his contract is up. Like, these are players that had real contributions to the Seattle Seahawks team. So they got a lot of things to do financially this offseason. Plus, you want to grow to go back on another run and possibly repeat next year. So it doesn't seem like that Kenneth Murray is going to be in the cards for the Seattle Seahawks. And I get it. They do have Zach Charbonnet in the backfield as well. That was their 1-2 punch of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. But is it going to be the right choice for the Seattle Seahawks to let Kenneth Walker walk in free agency? Is it going to be smart for him to hit the market if you're the Seattle Seahawks? Because he did step up big in the playoffs in the NFC Championship and in the Super Bowl, while Zach Charbonnet was missing the remainder of the playoffs due to injury. But there's going to be a lot of teams trying to acquire the services of Kenneth Walker. I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. They could definitely use a boost in the running game. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt really weren't solid 1-2 punches last year. You look at the Minnesota Vikings. They just released Aaron Jones. They could be looking for a new starting running back. He could fit the bill in Minnesota. Take the stress off of J.J. McCarthy, whoever's going to be the starter next year in Minnesota. The running game, lean on the running game at times. I think the New Orleans Saints are actually in play as well. I know Kellen Moore likes to run the football as well, me being a former Dallas Cowboys fan. And you look at Alvin Kamara, yeah, he's still there, but he could be possibly released during the NFL offseason or this summer. So I think Kenneth Walker going to the New Orleans Saints is not out of play. He could go to the Washington Commanders. They need a solid, strong running back out there in DC to take the stress off of Jaden Daniels at times in the backfield. Like, there's a lot of options in play for Kenneth Walker heading into the NFL offseason if the Seattle Seahawks do not re-sign him. Next player, Mike Evans. Now, Mike Evans, he has been in Tampa for a very long time. Mr. Consistent. Like, he's been there since 2014, and he's had 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If that's not Hall of Fame production, I don't know what the hell is in your guys' eyes. But this man has been there for the long haul. I mean, he was there for the Jameis Winston days at the quarterback position. He was there for the Tom Brady days, winning a Super Bowl with Tom Brady during the 2020 era. And he's still there with Baker Mayfield and company. Like, this man has been there for the test of time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it seems like he could be on the move this NFL offseason because he's been battling through injuries. And it sucks, but when healthy, who wouldn't want Mike Evans on your roster? Because he has shown elite production at the wide receiver position. When healthy, he's very consistent, and especially very consistent in the red zone. That's an extra boost for any NFL offense to have a big body receiver like that in the red zone. He's only 32 years of age. I think he still has gas left in the tank. And I'm looking at some teams, some contending teams that could use the services of Mike Evans. I'm looking at Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Pair him up with Zay Flowers on the other side of the field offensively, and he could be a huge red zone target for Lamar Jackson, a contending team out there in the AFC. I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills. They desperately need a number one wide receiver to help out the offense right now. Josh Allen would really love to acquire Mike Evans this NFL offseason. I'm looking at the Washington Commanders. They could line him up with Terry McLaurin on the other side of the field because I do believe that Deebo Samuel will not come back to the Washington Commanders. But that could give Jaden Daniels, a young quarterback coming off the injury, a big body wide receiver in the red zone. So I think there's a lot of options on the table for Mike Evans, a consistent wide receiver, future NFL Hall of Famer. But at 32 years of age, I think he's got something to prove, and I think he could find a home very soon this NFL offseason. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill. Now, is Tyreek Hill going to be the same offensive player? Is he going to have the same speed, the same burst, the same athleticism? Is he still going to be that same dynamic player after battling through these knee injuries? Time will tell. But I think he's worth a one-year deal if you're looking for a wide receiver, looking for a difference maker on the outside. A reunion to the Kansas City Chiefs is not out of play. They have won a Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill or Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce if he returns. Like, they know what to do, and there's more pieces there than it was last time at the wide receiver position since he's been there. Like, you got Rashid Rice I mean, the legal trouble. You can stay out of legal trouble. Him and Tyreek Hill got something in common. Xavier Worthy has the speed of a prime Tyreek Hill, so that's not out of play. The Baltimore Ravens like to go out after veteran wide receivers. They've done it with Steve Smith Sr. They've done it several times. Des Bryant. They've done it several times in the past. Odell Beckham. I could keep going on. DeAndre Hopkins. I could keep going on. But the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think they're out of play for Tyreek Hill. The Los Angeles Chargers could go after him because they have his former head coach and Mike McDaniel that's going to be calling the plays offensively. He knows his offensive system, and he could play alongside Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, several others in LA. So I'm not counting out the option of him going to the Los Angeles Chargers. I think there could be a home for him very soon during the NFL offseason. And last play I'll go over in this segment is going to be Max Crosby. Now, Max Crosby has no desire to be a part of a rebuild. He wants to win now in the NFL, and he's a top 5 edge rusher in the National Football League. The only thing is he is 28 and he's coming off a knee injury. We'll see, or knee surgery, I should say. We'll see if he'll be the same player or not, but it wouldn't hurt the Las Vegas Raiders to trade Max Crosby at this point because you can have more draft capital for your rebuild and possibly have 2 first-round picks for the 2026 NFL Draft, which that could really help them for their rebuild, to go smoothly, getting 2 top-tier players in this draft class. But there's several teams that have Max Crosby on the radar. Like, there's a lot of teams to be looking out for him in this situation. I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys. They're looking at chops. I would blow and trade the 2026 20th overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders if I could be the GM and acquire Max Crosby, a top 5 edge rusher. If you're the Detroit Lions, you could pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of the defensive side of the ball. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, that is something that they lack, a solid edge rusher. They could really use the services of Max Crosby. You look at the Chicago Bears, they could use another defensive piece to help them contend in the NFC for a long time. Like, there's going to be several teams that are looking to acquire the services of Max Crosby, an elite pass rusher, to boost the defense of having a top 5 edge rusher. So I think all those players could be on the move this NFL offseason, but we'll see which of these players find new homes this NFL offseason.